Good evening and welcome back to the ME7 Podcast. Well, I thought we were going to have nothing to talk about tonight, and then Scott Kashket has walked through the Priestfield door. Yes, the ex-Wycombe Wanderers forward man has signed this afternoon for Neil Harris's men to strengthen, or well, not strengthen because there is no strike force, but to come in and start the strike force that Neil Harris is trying to build. I'm joined by Owen Stanley this evening. Owen, are you there?
I'm indeed there. Hello.
You are good. Owen, we were quite worried that we were going to have absolutely nothing to talk about tonight. So we are more than happy to see at least one signing walk through that Priestfield door at 4:00 this afternoon.
Yeah, it turned into a bit of rush. We missed each other the last couple of days, saying we don't know what we're going to do. We're going to have to pick something out of nowhere to try and talk about for 25 minutes. But thankfully, we've gone through and got someone through the door today to at least give us a bit of a topic. Otherwise, I think it might have been on a record for probably the most boring Gills-related show it's ever been. But thankfully, case.
So yeah, okay, we have signed this afternoon Scott Kashket. Scott Kashket has joined the Gills. Yeah, Owen, give us. Obviously, he's an experienced player, just only 26, which quite surprised me when I was reading up on him. 26 years of age, but he's more than experienced at this level. Yeah, just give us your initial thoughts ahead of Scott coming in the door.
Yeah, it's interesting. It was actually the last week I was looking at on Transfer Market online about players who are free agents, and he's one of the names that I saw on a sort of, when you look past players' names, you sort of give a bit of a he's there. That's interesting. But then I sort of had a few other players that was a bit more looking at, thinking I'd really like him. But his name popped up, and I thought that's not too bad. He could be an option. Obviously, he had that really, really impressive season with Wycombe when they first came up into League One a few seasons ago, and obviously since then it's been a bit up and down for him. I think in terms of his career, he had that really good spend in front of goal in that League Two season, but since then it's been a bit more sporadic in terms of the goals. It's not been as consistent. Obviously, he left Wycombe and then ended up going to Crewe, who obviously went down much like we did. I think this is in January this year. Actually, he went to Crewe. The contract was terminated, and obviously we all know Crewe ended up exactly where we did. So it's one of them where I think there is definitely a potential there. I think there is a good player there. I think he's shown already in his career that he's capable of scoring goals at this level, and obviously this is the level we're at now. So it's good to get someone who has got pedigree within this level. It's interesting. A lot of people seem to be saying, a lot of our Wycombe fans seem to be saying, he's a lot better when he's playing alongside a target man. So maybe we'll see the return of Cody and Bayo like partnership that did so well for us in League Two back in the day.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously he scored goals at this level before. He did. He scored 16 goals in 29 appearances during that League Two year for Wycombe during 2016-17. He then spent the next 2 to 3 years a part of that crazy promotion push that ended up with Wycombe in the Championship under Gareth Ainsworth. Just how important is that going to be to this Gillingham side that he comes with not only a goal-scoring pedigree at this level, like you mentioned, but also a know-how of how to get out of this division?
Well, yeah, it's obviously important because people will obviously go on about the lack of signings we've had. Like we've been doing it ourselves about the frustration of not being able to get anyone in. But when you get a striker in, you need someone who has already been there and done it. In the sense, you can't just bring in anyone without a goal record just because you need a position filled. So it's good that we've gone with someone who does have the pedigree in the position, has shown he can score goals. And I think obviously with Kashket coming in and the record he's had previously with promotions from Wycombe, it's obviously good to have someone there who's been there and done it. That was a big stable of what made us so good in 2013, having all the players that had the experience of doing it before, and that's what got us over the line. Obviously, he is, on his own now. It's not even that, talk about experienced heads. You tend to associate that with players who are like in their 30s or towards back into the career. But as you say, he's only 26, so to have that experience already is really good. Obviously, we're going to need a few more strikers up there with him, and then once we get some more in, it'd give us more rounded view of what we can expect from him and his play style, his link-up play, and what we can do to get the best out of him.
Yeah, is it a slight worry that he's coming from a Crew side where he's not played much football? He's ended up getting released because of obviously because of their own issues. Is that a slight worry that he's not set it on fire at Crew, or is it kind of, well, this is a fresh start for him now?
No, I'm not really interested about what he did at Crew. Obviously, we see when players come into teams that are down there and they're struggling. I think, as well as he did do for us, probably a lot of people expected Ben Thompson to have a bigger impact at us than he actually did. But when you're surrounded by players who aren't up to that level, it obviously makes it a bit easier to stand out and be noticed because the team's not performing to the same sort of heights that you are. And I think in terms of, not particularly scoring many goals for Crew or whatever, I don't think that's something that's too much of an issue. We know, for example, Mikael Mandron at Crew, who's obviously here, he was scoring a few goals for them, but not that many. He didn't seem to set the world alight there either. So I think it's maybe just a case of, you're joining the team in January who because I think in January was just before the back end of January was when we played them, and we were, I think, 4 points behind them still at that point. And obviously, we ended up finishing substantially a higher amount of points than they did, even though we still went down. So I suppose it was a more indication of where they were than anything about the individual player. But I think coming to a new club, a new fresh start is going to be just what he wants, just what he's looking for, and it'll be interesting to see how we can adapt that to his game and hopefully get the best out of him.
Yeah, obviously it's well known that Kashket during his time at Wickham kind of played all along that front three, both right, left, and central. Is it an indication quite early on that Harris wants that forward line to be adaptable, depending on what formation he wants to play that week?
I hope so, but I think you needed forward line to be adaptable anyway, because we saw last season we were just basically a one-trick pony, get the ball into the fence, who felt Oliver, and hope for the best. There wasn't really a plan B, and that's not Neil Harris's fault. It's just down to the fact that those all we had in terms of options, because the players I've got up front of an Oliver didn't have the quality to, be interchangeable and be dynamic. Whereas now, if we have a team who are versatile and can do different roles in those positions, like obviously Kashket can play left, right, or in the middle, that'll give defences something to think about, because they'll see him as a striker, but then they'll see him pop up on the left and the right, and they'll start second guessing themselves. And obviously, when we get more attacking players, I'm sure that versatile nature is what they'll be looking for. I think we're going to be going for another target man, if you like, just because I think you need one at this level, because maybe not as a starter, but you definitely need it as another option when you're chasing the game or something like that. And then another striker after that as well, I would have thought, and then we can see how all the different styles of play that we have going up there can intellect and help each other, and then see where we can go. Yeah,
two names that have kind of been mentioned as a target man kind of role would be Paul McCallum and Harry Smith. McCallum's been heavily kind of linked with us over the past weeks, and then obviously Harry Smith has come into it in the last week or so after playing under Harris at Millwall. If either one of them come off, would you be happy with either one of them?
I'm very happy with McCallum. I think his record in the National League is very good. I think he's a player. I've watched his highlights when we were heavily linked with him. He's one of those sort of poachers type players, but he's good in the air. Someone puts the ball across the box, he's going to be the first one to get there. He's instinctive. He's a bit of a problem for defenders in the box. I think he's definitely one that's would be a nuisance in a very good way for us. And I think he's hopefully someone that, Neil Harris came out and said it wasn't happening a few weeks ago, but if you believe everything you're reading the forums, etc., there is still a bit of shining light in the distance for that deal. I think Harry Smith's a bit of a difficult one, because much like McCallum, he is still under contract, and I think it's more a case of McCallum probably wants to be going up a division at this point in his career, so he's probably more inclined to leave Dagenham to potentially join another League Two club. I'm not sure Harry Smith would be in the same sort of position where he's desperate to get out of it and already probably feels quite settled there at the minute. And obviously it's another fee we'd have to pay as well. I don't know if with those two names, I think it probably would be more likely one or the other, because I certainly can't see us playing two separate transfer fees for both of them. But if it was for me, I'd go for McCallum. But Harry Smith does seem a decent player. I think is one of those, another example where he's a young player from the area, much like Sean Raggett, we haven't really capitalised on and got through the door at an early age, and now is applying his trade somewhere else, and we're trying to get him back here. But I think, McCallum's definitely the number one target for me, personally. I think he'd be a great fit for us. But it just shows the transfer window, you can have all your favourites and who you want to be and who you might want to come in, and you'll get someone like Scott Kashket, who wasn't a name that I heard anywhere in terms of rumours. It came out completely out of the blue. So you never know what.
Yeah, no, very true. Okay, so this is obviously number 4 for the door. Harris had obviously said in the week that he won't be pressured as such into making the wrong signings for the football club. There's a little quote here that he said he obviously can't control the market and where we are at financially with the market. He just wants to get the best players and the best characters for the Gills, to give them the opportunity of being a top 7 League Two side this season. You have to be. He said he has to be patient, but between the balance of what he wants, and he wants to put a group of players together. I'm proud of and enjoying watching, and if that basically takes all the way up to the first game of the season, pretty much, or the first day, September the 1st, should I say, then so be it. Owen, really interesting quote in there that says he wants to get the best players and the best characters in to give Gillingham Football Club the best opportunity of being a top 7 side in League Two. Okay, is that putting a little bit of pressure on a little bit too early, considering how slow we've been in the market?
No, I don't think so. I don't think Neil Harris, in his opinion, is someone who wants to be in League Two for more than one season. I don't think he's a manager who should be in League Two at all, let alone for the one season. So I think in his mind, he's saying that basically this is the season where hopefully we can just get our business done and go straight back up again. I know it sounds a lot easier when you say it like that, but I think to be honest, I think a lot of fans will probably be thinking we should be getting top 3. So the fact it says top 7 maybe actually relieves the pressure a bit more than anything else. But, and with all due respect, looking at the table last year, looking at the teams in the playoffs, it's not really unrealistic to say that we should be in that chasing pack, or maybe a bit ahead of it. But it all does depend on our transfer business. We've not got any God-given right to be at the top, and I think it's one where, he mentions characters, and obviously with the experienced players we've got now, we have Williams, O'Keefe, and even Kashket to an extent, I suppose, and Aimer. We are slowly but surely getting a group together who know what they're doing. They've been here and done it, and obviously we've got the blend of the youth as well, with players like Jeffries coming through. And I was going to say Henry Woods, but I think he's gone to Maidstone this afternoon. So
yes, yeah.
But it's all about getting the right characters in and people who want to be. I think last season we had a few who were just sort of like they almost given up to an extent in certain games and just wanted the season to be over and done with, and then get on the holidays and whatever. And this season we need players who are committed to hopefully getting us back to, well, I say where we belong, but I don't think that's an outlandish statement considering we've probably got the record for the most amount of years in that division now. So it's just about everyone coming together and doing the right thing for the club, and hopefully we can get back to that level, and then we don't have to be in League Two for much longer than we'd like to be.
Yeah, you mentioned about the blend of youth and experience. The 4 signings that we've obviously made is Will Wright, Sean Williams, Dom Jeffries, and then obviously Scott Kashket this afternoon. 2 youngsters in Will Wright and Dom Jeffries, and then 2 more experienced pros as such in Sean Williams and Scott Kashket. Of the 4 signings that we've made so far, just give us your review of them.
Obviously we would like more than 4 at this point, and I think we're still quite slow on that front. I'm hoping we can get at least another 2 in this week, I think, because we've got our first game on Saturday, I believe, at Folkestone, so we need the players. I'm excited by Will Wright. I think he's going to be someone with a lot of potential. I think he's someone I think he'd probably be seen as an ideal replacement for Tucker because of the age, and coming in with a lot of experience in National League level at his age as well is very impressive. I think he's going to be one where, hopefully halfway through the season we're looking at him thinking that as a steal of a transfer to get him in on a free. But I think out of all of them, I think he's the one I'm most excited for to see how he gets on. I think Jeffries will definitely have potential. As we said before, he comes to great regard from his peers at Brentford. He seems to be an energetic young midfield player, and hopefully we can see that. And obviously, the worry I have with him is just the B team thing. It's hard to judge, like I was saying last week with Dan Phillips and Tom Dixon-Peters. It's never as easy as seeing someone with a good record in the B side and hoping it will transfer itself over to league football. It doesn't always happen that easily. Williams is hopefully just going to be what we expect him to be: calm, composed, experienced, big, level-headed. Just does his job quietly, as he said, and he'll be one of those players that we can hopefully see as more of a reliable player in a change room who can make the big difference. And obviously, Kashket, as I said, hopefully just scores goals. That'll do me.
Yeah, you mentioned briefly there. Football's back. Football is back on Saturday as the Gills travel to Folkestone Invicta for their first pre-season friendly. Obviously, exciting to see. Hopefully the 4 new faces, providing they're fit and healthy and well, and then the current crop that were there from last season, and then obviously he mentioned in a couple of days back that there would be trialists trying to earn a contract. Owen, I don't know if you're going. I'm going. I don't know if we've decided yet if we're going or not. But I am going. I am going Saturday. So you're welcome to come along with me. Obviously, folks, on Saturday. What are you hoping for? What are you? I guess what are you wanting to see?
I'm going to go now because you just offered. Just want to see new players, see how they get on. Obviously, you'll get people who are just they haven't seen games in so long. They'll be so keen to judge everyone on the first 10 minutes of a game against Folkestone. One of the new signings will take a heavy touch, and that'll be him needing to go out the door because he's not good enough. Just look and see how everyone gets on. Obviously, it's first time we're going to see everyone blend. Maybe we've been working on different patterns of different players already and link up players and things like that. So that'd be good to see. Obviously, want to be keeping an eye out for the trialists. It's obviously that time of the year where people see photos of people in training. It's always the good game of is it a trialist or is it a youth player, because no one really seems to know. I'd like to see if there's anyone recognisable we've got on trial. Obviously, last year when I think we played a home game against I can't remember who it was towards the back end of pre-season. We had Mustafa Carriol and I can't remember his first name, Hall, who used to play for Oxford. I think it's Rob Hall, plays for Barn. Yeah, and I think we probably signed the wrong one in the end, but it's difficult to really judge, who we're looking at until we give them a few more games. Obviously, it's going to be a case where the trialists will probably have a few this Saturday, and then we'll have a different bunch the next game. So I suppose we'll see, but I'm hoping to just see some football for the first time in a little while, and hopefully we'll win. If not, who cares? But hopefully we just see the new boys in action and we can see some impressive stuff.
Okay, right. So we've got about 7 or 8 minutes left of the show, and we kindly had 6 or 7 questions be sent in for us. Let's whittle through these quite quickly. Put these to you, Owen. Are you concerned about the lack of friendlies? Because will it leave the squad undercooked going into the Wimbledon game?
I think Harris has always been quite consistent. It's only wanted 6, I think, is what he said. Under Evans, we always had about 9 or 10. Depends really. I don't think there's going to be a massive problem with it. I think the only problem we'd have is more that we don't have the squad size, but I think there's still one more to be announced. I think you were saying he had a home game against a Premier League team that was about to be agreed. This is a couple of weeks ago, so maybe it's gone a bit quiet on that one. But to my knowledge, we already have, I think, 5 already lined up. I think I can't off the top of my head. I know Folkestone's one. Obviously, we're home to Portsmouth, Southend away, and then
Dover,
yeah, and then something else. It's been difficult because we're really used to usually having the standard like Ebbsfleets, the Dartfords, people like that. It's always quite easy to keep an eye on, but this season seems a bit more difficult. But no, I'm not really particularly worried about friendlies. I think they're just about fitness, and I think they won't be particularly undercooked at all. I think as soon as we're getting more and more players through the door as pre-season goes on, it's just about getting people ready for the first game. Harris will know that.
Okay. Next one. I guess we've already answered this really. Like how worried should we be about the lack of pen to paper to get contracts signed? Because obviously with the team with the season starting earlier, should we be worried that the team then has less time to gel?
Well, the longer it goes on, I suppose, yes. But I think firstly we need a goalkeeper. I know it's not the most exciting signing in the world, but we need one. It's just we can't play rush goalie all year. It's a bit concerning, yeah, because you look at, so it's an argument people make all the time where you say we're not signing enough players, and everyone will say, well, I think Colchester, for example, haven't signed anyone. And it's like, yeah, but I very much doubt they had 7 contracted players at the start who, when you didn't really want all of them to be there anyway. They probably had a settled squad before that who not many have left. Whereas we're looking at a complete rebuild, and we still need a lot of positions filled. We still don't have a right back. We'll be looking at another midfielder now, I suppose, because Woods is gone. Maybe not, though. Maybe just wasn't going to get any game time, so we let him go. We need some wide players. We need a couple more strikers. We've still got a lot of business to do. And obviously the season starts in just over a month. So it is the case of we're probably going to have to be pushing out, a couple a week at this rate to get where we want to be. But I would suspect the window, our access in the window will still be going on past the start of the season. And it's hopefully just the players we are going to get in, they've had a decent enough pre-season that they can do, because we don't want to. I don't really like the idea necessarily of bringing in players who haven't had a pre-season just before the season starts, because obviously they might end up a bit behind. But it's a bit of a worry still at this point. But thankfully, it seems like this week we are making strides.
Okay. Next one. Does that then lead to the questions of Scally wanting to go for it next season? Questions are asked about the recruitment and Harris signing players, but then does the finger ultimately start then being pointed upstairs that he's not getting the back in, or is it a case of Harris is not quite found what he wants at the moment and contracts are not quite ending yet? What do you think it might be?
Harris has come out in the past week and said that there's been deals there, people have been ready to sign on the dotted line, then it's fallen through. You would imagine that's due to financial reasons. Obviously, the one we mentioned before, Paul McCallum, from what you hear, it sounds as though we were in pretty much pole position to secure that signing, but there was something with Dagenham that didn't quite get agreed, and apparently the difference wasn't too much. It was just a little case of trying to agree a little finer detail at the end where Scally didn't quite fancy it, and obviously that's not happened. I think that if he had the ambition and wanted to progress to get us back out of this division, then you just take the investment and put it in to get that player in who's going to give us a bigger chance of doing it. The fact he's not is a bit concerning, but not particularly surprising, because we know all about Scally. We know he's not going to be putting money out there to get players. We're going to be free agents and whatever else, because that's just what we do. And it must be frustrating as a manager when you've got all of these targets, but realistically you're probably looking at them thinking, well, I can't afford him, so let's keep looking down and down and down. But I think he actually would do himself a bit more of a favour, Scally, if he did just give, Dagenham, for example, from McCallum, what they want, just as a sign of, I don't want to be in this division, so I'm going to do what I can to get us out. And I think people would look at that and say, fair play for actually putting the money in and showing that you actually want to do something this season. Whereas because he's not and he doesn't fancy doing it, it just doesn't really help his reputation, because people will say, how much does he really care that we've dropped a division? And when you're not willing to back the manager, one of the best we've had in recent years, then I don't know where you leave yourself, but there is still time. Maybe he will get it done. I hope he does, but do I really think he will? Am I convinced? Not really.
Yeah. Okay. The next question is, when we went down, I immediately thought we'd be contenders to come straight back up if Harris stayed. Looking at things, how we're going, they're a bit worried. What do you think?
That's impossible to say. We've got 4 new players, haven't we? We've got 10 players that come in last week. I don't think I can really make a solid argument to say whether we'll be top 7 or not. I said earlier we should be top 7 on the basis of, we've been a League One club for so long, but it doesn't really matter in that sense. It's a completely different team. I think we simply just need to see the rest of the players we get in, the players we keep, how they get on early doors before we sort of make any assumptions. Because it's difficult to say, we'll be here, but we've only got 1 striker, or we'll be down there, we haven't got a goalkeeper. I think we need a bit more time to see what the squad is going to be. I think it's a lot more helpful having Harris than it would be not, because I think, someone like him being in League 2 is quite ridiculous, to be honest. It is even there, and it gives us a bit more of a boost going forward that he is there, and hopefully we can use that as a way of propelling us up again. I think it will be a case of, I think we'll start quite slowly, in all honesty. I wouldn't be surprised if we come out of the first month a little bit behind the chasing pack as everyone catches up with fitness. But I think hopefully eventually, providing we get the right players, of course, we can make a push up the right end of the table rather than below it. So I'm not entirely worried at this point. I think it just won't have a clearer view until we see the type of players we do have in the building.
Okay. Last one. How convinced all is well behind the scenes? And do you think Harris will start feeling a little bit twitchy if we don't do a lot more in the market?
Well, it's like I said, I think there's probably players that he wanted to get in that he's not been able to. I'm sure that was the same for Evans and everyone else who came before him, but I don't think there's particularly unrest behind the scenes. I know some people are getting a bit hyperbolic saying about the potential of Harris walking if he doesn't get the players he wants. He's not that type of character. I don't think he'll still be here. I think it's just a case of he as much as it's frustrating for him, he knew before he came in what the budget or lack of was at this football club and what he can expect in terms of backing from his chairman. He knew all of this and he still took the job. So I don't think it should come as a surprise as such to him what the situation is at the minute. Obviously, we'd like to get players in quicker than we have done, and I think we will start to see movement now this week. We've started strongly, and hopefully, for Harris, he does start to get the team he wants shaping up now. But I don't think there's anything particularly of unrest behind the scenes. I think it'll be just more a case of having to be a bit more patient to see what comes off, and we can go from there.
Okay, that is the end of episode 11 tonight. Number 4 is through the door for Neil Harris as the Gills head to Folkestone Invicta on Saturday afternoon for their first pre-season friendly. Good night.